Welcome to Struggle Meals. Today, we are gonna focus on the simplicity and awesomeness of low ingredient count dishes. We don't need to have a laundry list of ingredients to get maximum flavor for minimal price. So we're gonna be making a flatbread. It's easy. A fancy chicken piccata and a delicious, flavor-packed curry, carrot, ginger soup. After you taste these three flavor bombs, I think you'll realize that it's actually liberating to cook dishes with minimal ingredients. So I'm really pumped up. Let's get cooking. To the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. Life can be a struggle, but a good meal doesn't have to be. We can make creative, nutritious, and inventive dishes that won't break the bank. We'll eat well and save money, because that's what we do. Welcome to Struggle Meals. Flour, olive oil, goat cheese, chives, and tomatoes are gonna make us a beautiful 5-ingredient flatbread. Because it's flat, we don't need yeast, which means we don't need to wait, which means we can have it now, which is good, because I'm hungry. So we start off with flour, coming in with some salt. Wanna make sure that's in the dough. Little hole here, some warm water. 1/4 cup of olive oil, the good stuff. Oh, look at that. You know, all these are staple ingredients. You should totally have these stocked in your pantry at all times. All right, now that it has basically come together the slightest bit, I'm gonna try to put my arms into it. One of the reasons why you wanna have flour around at all times is because it's such a versatile ingredient. I mean, you can use it for so many things. It's literally like the blank canvas onto which Van Gogh paid. Sometimes I try to go onto these little asides and there's no place that I'm going. I just keep talking. Before flour existed in commercial form, this is how they made it. And then they'd let it rise just by kind of letting it sit around. There is natural yeast inside of the flour. I know all you people know that because everybody did like sourdough at the beginning of 2020. Remember that? Anyway, that's not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is the versatility of flour. Also, I think it's really good to talk while you're kneading dough because it makes the process seem a lot less boring. So how have you been lately? Our primitive dough ball has been formed, and this is sort of indicative of all the different shapes flour can take. I mean, we can bake breads with it, we can use it as a thickener. It's such a versatile ingredient. Plus, if there's like a global pandemic, everyone's gonna want it, and it's gonna be really hard to get it, so you should have it before that happens. That's a pro tip. I'm gonna push my heel into it here. I'm gonna fold it in half, fold it again. I'm just gonna go like this. And I'm really hydrating the flour with the olive oil and the water, like stretching out these gluten strands. That's what's gonna keep it all together. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like paste. It's tough, right? When I push, it bounces back. You see that? And that's because the gluten is like, ugh, let it relax so that in a half hour, when I push it, it stays in. Why? Because the muscles are loose, man. Just came out of a 90-minute massage session. It's really important that you cover this somehow. It could be a wet tea towel. It could be a piece of plastic wrap if you've got it. We just wanna make sure that it doesn't dehydrate because then we're gonna get this crusty outside and when we go to roll it, it's gonna break and crackle and it's gonna be no good. Wrap it up, kids. Into the fridge, 30 minutes. Look at this. Look at how relaxed it is. Because this is a flatbread, because there's no yeast, because there's no rise, we can roll this out and cook right now. Shouldn't be called a flatbread. It should be called a quick bread. This is why I ride a horse. But what I was imagining was horse riding and like lassoing, but because it was the dough, I see. Okay. Yeah, got it. Now, because that flour, see how relaxed this is? Oh my goodness. Because the whole thing's more hydrated, it's wetter. So it's important we use flour to keep the whole bench, even though it's really a table, you know, super dry. More flour on top. Try to get an even spreading. And now we gotta roll this out with the struggle rolling pin. It would be even more struggly if it were empty. From the middle and work my way out. Now, if you don't let this fully rest, it's gonna all be pulling back to the center. You can see it happening a little bit, but it's pretty chill dough right now. Not like temperature-wise, like attitude-wise. Nobody's laughing anymore. Olive oil. This is gonna fry the dough. It's gonna prevent a non-stick surface. It's gonna add more flavor because fat is flavor and olive oil is fat. Therefore, olive oil is flavor. Very big piece of dough. All right, so you wanna get your dough really nice and thin, get it into your pan, and right now we have a blank canvas. We've got a crisp, salty, savory, slightly fatty, unleavened bread. We need to add flavors to this. And because the dough uses so few ingredients, we can top this with 3 absolute beauties. Let's start with some cherry tomatoes. They're gonna give us some natural sweetness, a nice little pop of acidity, gorgeous color. And cherry tomatoes are sweeter in general than beefsteak tomatoes all year round. So you know they're most likely gonna be great no matter when you buy them. My strategy is for really, really even placement. It doesn't really matter which side's up and which side's down, just get them happening there. Pinch off little pieces of goat cheese and put that around. There's something to be said about simple food done well. It's almost liberating not to have to shave truffles and put gold leaf all over this, don't you think? And then we'll hit it with a little bit of olive oil because fat is flavor and olive oil is fat. Therefore, olive oil is flavor. Salt's gonna wake everything up here. So not only is it great that we have few ingredients on here because it's good for our wallets, I think it's really good from a tasting perspective because we can really pick out individual flavors because there aren't a whole bunch of them. We're cutting through the noise here. Let's bake it. All right. Chives, knife. We really want to come straight through with the guillotine. Let the blade do the work. Try not to squash them too much. Super strong allium onion flavor. They may be tiny in size, but they're big in flavor. Like a sushi master. We're gonna start in the middle. That becomes sort of our little anchor point. Flatbread number 1. Boom. So, this looks great. It's $1.22, and I just can't wait to bite into it. It has the texture of an ultra-thin New York pizza, but the flavor of a delicious focaccia. It's all that olive oil in there. And you know why I can taste the olive oil? Because there's so few ingredients. It's not busy, it's not fussy, it's affordable, it's easy to make. The dough is something that comes out of pantry essentials that you already have, which means you can make it. And then after that, it's a blank canvas. That's why this is an awesome dish. That's why 5 ingredients are the way to go. But it doesn't stop there. We can make more than just flatbreads with 5 ingredients. On to the next. In order to make solid and reliable dishes, it's important to know what you should splurge your money on and what ingredients you should budget. Here are the things I think are worth spending the dollars. Olive oil. It's one of the fundamental ingredients in my kitchen, and I think it's worth the splurge. When you're looking for a good quality one, it's as simple as finding one in a glass bottle that's cold pressed. For cooking and dressings, you don't need a fancy oil at all. Plastic bottles can be okay, and you can go with the lower and mid-range price ones. Maple syrup. This is something I think you've got to splurge on. There should only be one ingredient, pure maple syrup. The fake stuff is sugar water with a bunch of dyes. I don't even think it tastes good. I'd rather have nothing. Dried mushrooms are also a really great place to spend your money. They're rich, they're meaty, they're savory. They can be a little bit pricey, but the flavor they bring is worth the splurge. Here's what I think you should avoid. Fancy flavored vinegars are a big no-no in my book. I mean, they take a base vinegar and add a bunch of colorings and flavorings to them, especially balsamic, which is one of the most mislabeled and counterfeited of all the vinegars. You know what vinegar is at the end of the day? It's wine gone bad. So why don't you stick to the basic ones and then add your flavors as you see fit? Truffle flavored anything. You know, 95% of the time, it's chemists in a lab artificially making this flavor. And drink mixes like Bloody Mary and Margarita. You know, both of those are so easy to make with ingredients that you already have at home. Plus, they taste way better that way. In order to make reliably delicious dishes, it's important to know where to spend your money and where to save it. You know, at the end of the day, you'll save a lot of money if you follow these guidelines and have more delicious dishes. It's time for another low fuss and minimal ingredient dish. Pan-fried chicken with a delicious lemony, buttery sauce. Sign me up. It's called chicken piccata, and it's chicken, flour, butter, lemon, capers. Super easy. Let's do it. We start with chicken breast. We're gonna butterfly this open. So run the knife through that way. Open it like a book and do it again. What does this do? It gives us a more even taper of the chicken, which means it's gonna cook more easily. And it also makes a thinner piece of chicken, which is gonna cook faster. And that's great. So we'll cut it in half now. Boom. Coming in, putting the hand on top, starting with the heel of the blade and really coming through. Opening it up now. Cut that in half. All right, I'm salting the chicken. Salt is very, very important in this dish. With a lemon, of really bringing that acidity and savoriness to the front. We'll hit it with pepper. I'm gonna turn on my pan so that it's warm when I'm ready for it. Let's salt the other side. Very nice. We're going pepper. Got a little bit of flour here. We're gonna dredge the chicken here in the flour, and this is gonna make sure the chicken's dry so it gets nice and crispy when it fries up. Oil in the pan. Little butter nose. You know, olive oil and salt are not counted towards the total here because those are essential ingredients. You can't cook without them. Let's get our first chicken breast in here. This is floured. That's gonna keep the chicken nice and dry so it gets a good crispy skin, but that flour is also gonna fall off in here and start creating a beautifully velvety sauce. It's amazing how much this puffs up even after it's been butterflied. I mean, boom, it just sits up. If you don't butterfly it, you're gonna have a skyscraper. 1, 2. Very nice. The good thing about a low-fat piece of protein like this is that it does cook pretty quickly. Look at that submersion. Gonna give these chickens a rest, and let's make our sauce. I'm gonna use an ingredient that I really, really love, capers. They're like salt on steroids. They last a really long time in the fridge, and they give you this briny awesomeness. Kind of fry them in your oil here. Now I'm gonna slice up our lemons, fundamental to this sauce. I'm taking a fork, and I'm just kind of trying to penetrate inside of the lemon here to really get the juice out of it. And let's get some butter in there. Oh, yeah. At this point, I'm gonna lower the heat down a little bit. Just swirl your pan around a little bit and sort of create a loose emulsion. We're thinking like salad dressing thickness here. I'm killing the heat. I'm bringing it all in nice and slow. Residual heat happening. Gorgeous butterfat smells. Briny caper with lemon that brightens it all up. This has gotta be one of the simplest and most flavorful sauces on the planet. Let's bring this up to a simmer again. Let's get our chicken back in there. Really let it get to know the sauce we just made. Oh yeah, and these resting juices, free flavor, friends. You can take this spoon and just baste this over top. So it's like all this lemon juice with little droplets of fat mixed really nicely throughout. And that's a loose emulsion. Look at these bubbles. You see how thick they are? That's from the flour on the chicken. It's kind of fallen off, and now it's being a natural thickener in our sauce. Oh, baby! Velvety and luxurious. Do you see how it's just sticking to the top of the chicken there? That's the thickness that we're looking for. That is achieved by heating these together at the same time and reducing the water inside of the sauce. That's another beautiful thing about cooking with few ingredients. We can really focus on what makes cooking great. Your technique. All right, let's plate this up. The nice piece of chicken breast here. Get some of our piccata sauce here. We can drizzle it around the plate like this with the capers. Put a little bit on top just like this. Oh, so delicious. This looks surprisingly fancy, and it's $1.41. This is the epitome of a no-fuss, polished, and legit meal. Slice into it. Let's get a little caper with that. It looks so plump and succulent. So good. The butter is fatty, the chicken is meaty, the capers are salty, the lemon is bright, and together it makes a legit, no fuss, and totally delicious dish. You need to make that tonight. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we love cooking at home, because you're bringing the fancy while keeping the budget at bay. I'm loving this uncomplicated way of cooking. Let's keep going with a challenge. It's time for a struggle challenge, so let's see what you guys got for me today. All I got is peanut butter, white rice, and a thick boneless pork chop. What can I make? It sounds like peanut butter, white rice, and pork chop. Let's do it. Peanut butter, white rice. Oh, this is a bone pork chop. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. We've got a gorgeous pork chop here. We're gonna sear it real nice, get it really juicy and succulent. And then we're gonna cook the rice, as one does, in water, slowly, until it's soft and fantastic. And the peanut butter will be the base of a chili oil. We'll make it some packet drawer hot pepper. So I'm thinking of the flavors of tahini, which is ground up sesame seeds, and I kind of feel like a spicy tahini sauce and a spicy peanut butter sauce are analogous and interchangeable. And we'll mix it all on as a sauce after the rice is cooked. So we'll have pork chop with spicy peanut butter rice. Let's give it a try and see if this works. Cast iron pan. Fire that up. I'm gonna toast the rice just for a second, and then I'm gonna bring it up to a simmer with some water. I just like to toast the rice in a dry pan for a second because I feel like it releases some starch and gives the rice a little more ricey flavor. Twice as much water as rice, okay? So you've got a boneless pork chop, mine's bone in. I'm just gonna work with what I got here too. I think it's more of the rice and peanut butter part of the equation that we're all perplexed by. Does the oil smile? Give it ears and some hair. We'll go salt and pepper side down. Let's hit the other side with salt and pepper so we don't have to do it later. Now the hard part. Let's make a spicy peanut butter sauce. We got red pepper flakes. We're gonna get some heat happening here. The rice is boiling. Let's bring it down to a simmer. Coming in. with peanut butter. I feel like we gotta have rice vinegar in there. It's gonna play really well with the saltiness of the peanut butter. Let's take a look at our pork chop here. I'm like really curious to see what this is like so far. So, salty and acidic. Surprisingly, I think I can use a little more fat. I think I'm gonna use olive oil. But this isn't gonna spread on anything. So I'm thinking now we're gonna thin it out with water. I don't wanna add any more rice vinegar because it's already got the flavor punch that I'm looking for here. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of salt. Now we've got a really fluidious peanut butter pepper vinegar sauce. And it tastes delicious. It's spicy, salty, and acidic. All right, let's blacken this guy. The only way to think about low ingredient meals is how do I maximize each ingredient's potential in the dish. This pork chop's done. Love it. We got a bunch of flavors in here, and I think we should take them from the pan. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of water. So it looked like there was nothing in that pan, but once I hit it with water, look at all this fat that came up. Look at all these peppers that fell off. You know, I've got spicy and fatty flavors right here. So I think we should pour this into the peanut butter mixture. Incorporate. Okay, so now it's too thin. So let's get more peanut butter in there to bring it back in the other direction. My ratios were all off here, but that is the nature of a struggle challenge. Gotta mix it till it's smooth. We need a cup. Get our rice into our little cup here. Pack it in real good. Now we take our struggle plate on the rice. Oh, okay. Abracadabra. Yes! We had pork chop, rice, and peanut butter. What can I do? Well, I think you do this. We make a sauce that this sits in. Okay, coming around that way. Let's talk about presentation here, okay? The positives are nice placement, pretty good deliverance of the rice, and you know, the sauce all around, so it seems like a fine French sauce, which I'm digging. The downsides are my rice collapsed a little bit over here, and of course the color palette is just so, rainy day. 7 on looks. Here we go. Peanut butter, rice, and pork, baby. This was seared to perfection in my opinion. Pork, sauce, and rice. Really good. Believe it or not, I'm gonna give this a 9.5 on flavor. I think it's delicious. Peanut butter, pork chop, and rice. You know, they're an unlikely trio of ingredients, but because there are so few of them, each of them can really make a dish that works well together, even though you think it can't. I mean, I got a juicy and perfectly cooked piece of pork with a salty, acidic, and spicy sauce it's all sitting in. I know peanut butter sounds weird, but it works. So they shouldn't be together, but they are playing together like a band of sisters. And don't think for a second, I can't cook anything with these things because they don't go together. Pretty much anything can go together. That's the truth. Thank you for this challenge. Soup, one of the original low ingredient count dishes, and that's exactly what we're gonna make next. Curried carrot ginger soup. It's delicious. Only uses 5 ingredients. I'm using carrots, ginger, curry powder, onions, and stock. Start off with a pan that's hot. Cut up our onion. Cut up some carrots. It's like the log coming through the old sawmill. All the vegetables are chopped. Let's get going. Get our oil in the pan. It's a super hot pan. Now, the most fundamental part of this whole dish is the flavor building, and it happens right now. We want our curry powder to come alive and fry in that oil as well. Curry powder is just releasing all these fantastic aromas, and it becomes a whole different animal when you fry it in oil. You think you know curry powder, but you've never had it cooked in oil? You've got no idea. A little bit of ginger here, okay? This is the flavor building. Once we drop the stock, there'll be no more sugar caramelizations. A little bit of salt in there, a little bit of pepper to add to that heat we're building. Sugars are falling out of the carrots and the onions. They're caramelizing. Everything's getting sweeter. It's condensing. All of the little pores of the curry powder have opened up. And then when we drop the stock, zoom, the temperature drops down, all those flavors are incorporated in, and everybody's happy. And that's what I like about cooking with few ingredients. You can really work on the balancing of flavors. All right, you can see caramelization that's happening on the bottom of the pan. Now we've got to incorporate it into our dish. And we do that by dropping the stock. The water will release all those sugars off the bottom of the pan. You do need to give it a little bit of manual labor, so scrape it off. And then once it feels smooth, the deglazing process has been completed. So I'm gonna let this simmer for about 20 minutes so that everything gets tender. All right, our carrots are nice and soft. It smells fantastic. Let's incorporate everything. If you don't have an immersion blender, it's something you should add to your arsenal of tools because it's super low cost and highly versatile. Sometimes I like to get an angle. It smells great. I smell spice, warmth, and sweetness all at the same time. And that is a nice bowl of curried carrot ginger soup. Obviously, you could dress this up with other toppings or drizzle it with things. That's up to you, but I think it's gonna be flavorful as is. And it's only 80 cents a serving. It is bright, it is sweet, it is spicy. Very bright. This is a flavor-packed soup, and each ingredient in this soup really carries its weight, especially with that initial fry stage at the beginning. But at the end of the day, I'm still perplexed and in bewilderment at the amount of flavor that we extracted from only 5 ingredients. If you need something to wake up your taste buds, you should make this. 3 uncomplicated dishes that were quick to make, but jam-packed with flavor. With just a few pantry staples, we can make reliable, nourishing, and delicious dishes. Today is proof you do not have to have a recipe list that is loaded with ingredients. Simplicity wins. Teresa asks, hey Frankie, do you have any 2 to 3 ingredient miracles? That's a great question, and you betcha I do. Let's start with a shakshuka. Take a can of tomatoes, some package or sugar, blend it up, cook it down, crack some eggs in it, bake it. Delicious. Another one is just spaghetti with garlic and oil. Man, this dish is so good, so satisfying, and I don't think there's anything on this planet that I've eaten more of than that. Want to make it extra special? Add some broccoli. Now you're up to 4 ingredients. You know, at the end of the day, you can make anything really great if the quality of your ingredients is high. You don't need quantity of ingredients. Keep that in mind.